The stage was massive, but the boy looked so small. His shirt was slightly oversized, his shoes scuffed, his guitar missing a string. People in the audience whispered, "How can he sing such a song?" A judge raised an eyebrow, clearly doubtful. Then came his words, barely above a whisper. "My father loved this song, he used to play it before he passed away. Tonight, I sing it for him, and for anyone who's ever lost someone they love." The hall froze. The boy's fingers trembled as he strummed the first note of Hotel California. It wasn't perfect, it was pure. His voice cracked, but in that crack lay the weight of every sleepless night he had endured. The audience, once skeptical, leaned in. A mother clutched her child's hand tighter, a young man closed his eyes, memories flooding in. Judges, seasoned and stern, softened as his voice grew steadier. It wasn't just a performance, it was confession, prayer, and love letter all at once. The spotlight glowed warmer, as though the stage itself believed in him. By the chorus, tears shimmered across the hall. No one was thinking of the original song anymore. They were hearing his story, the story of a boy who turned grief into grace, and pain into music. The final note of the first verse floated like a feather across the silent room. People forgot they were watching a competition. They were witnessing a child remind them all, love never really leaves us. And in that instant, the boy's fragile voice carried the weight of the world. The theater was packed, lights blinding, cameras rolling. But when a small boy walked onto the stage, the room fell into an unexpected hush. His shirt was too big for him, his shoes worn, his guitar clearly secondhand, with a faint crack running along its side. To many, he looked out of place on such a grand stage. Some in the audience whispered, a few even chuckled softly, doubting what they were about to hear. Then he stepped up to the microphone. His hands shook as he adjusted it, but his eyes carried something that silenced even the murmurs, an unspoken pain, wrapped in quiet courage. He swallowed hard and spoke, his voice fragile yet sincere. "My father used to sing this song every night. He never got to see me grow up. Tonight, I sing it for him, and for anyone who has ever lost someone they love." The judges froze. The audience shifted, their hearts suddenly heavy. He strummed the first chords of Hotel California. The sound wasn't polished, but it was pure, raw, unfiltered emotion spilling into the air. His voice cracked on the first line, but instead of weakness, it carried truth. Every note seemed to hold a memory, every word a story untold. By the time he reached the chorus, tears glistened in the crowd. A mother squeezed her child's hand. A man in the back wiped his eyes, remembering his own father. Even the sternest judge leaned closer, her expression softening. The boy was no longer just singing a song. He was turning grief into beauty, pain into healing. His fragile voice had become a bridge, connecting strangers through the universal language of loss and love. And with that single first note, the world listened. As the boy's voice carried through the hall, something remarkable began to happen. The whispers of doubt faded, replaced by the sound of sniffles, quiet gasps, and hearts slowly breaking open. The camera zoomed in on faces across the crowd, men and women who had come expecting a simple audition, now finding themselves swept into an unexpected river of emotion. One of the judges, known for his unshakable sternness, blinked rapidly, struggling to maintain composure. Another leaned forward, hands clasped, as if in prayer. The boy's voice wasn't flawless, but it was honest, and that honesty cut deeper than perfection ever could. The boy closed his eyes as he sang the second verse, and suddenly, the stage seemed to disappear. He wasn't performing for fame or recognition, he was standing in his tiny home again, singing to his father who used to hum this very melody on long, weary nights. Every word felt like a reunion. Every chord, a promise that love never dies. A mother in the audience pressed her hands against her mouth, whispering, "That's my son's favorite song too." A young man lowered his head, his shoulders shaking, reminded of the father he had lost years ago. The song had become more than music, it was memory, legacy, and healing unfolding in real time. When the boy hit the chorus again, something magical happened, the audience softly joined in. Not in full voice, but in gentle murmurs, as though they were holding him up with their own strength. The room, once filled with doubt, had become a choir of shared humanity. By the final note of the verse, it was clear, this wasn't just a performance. It was a gift, one that would be remembered long after the spotlight dimmed. The boy's voice rose into the final chorus, trembling yet unbreakable, like a fragile bird learning to fly in front of the world. The theater, once buzzing with doubt, was now drenched in silence broken only by the sound of muffled sobs. People weren't watching a competition anymore, they were witnessing a child transform pain into beauty. Suddenly, the camera caught sight of something extraordinary. One of the judges reached for the golden buzzer. The crowd gasped. No one expected it this soon. His hand hovered, trembling, as if he too needed courage to press it. The boy sang on, unaware of what was about to happen, his eyes still closed, lost in his memory of home. Then it happened. Smash! The golden buzzer lit up. Confetti rained down like stardust. The boy startled, his strumming faltering as golden light showered him. For a second, he froze, unsure if he deserved it. His lips trembled, his small hands clutching the guitar tighter. The audience leapt to their feet, roaring, crying, clapping, cheering. Strangers hugged each other, swept up in the magic. One of the judges wiped away tears, saying through the microphone, "You reminded us what music is for, to heal, to remember, to love." The boy's eyes filled with tears. He lifted his face to the lights, whispering softly, "This is for you, Papa." His voice broke, but the crowd erupted even louder, as if to carry his words straight to the heavens. In that golden rain of confetti, he wasn't just a poor boy with an old guitar. He was a symbol of hope, of second chances, of the power of truth sung straight from the heart. The stage had become a cathedral of love. As the golden confetti drifted to the floor, the boy stood trembling, unable to believe what had just happened. The judges were on their feet, the audience roaring, yet he looked overwhelmed, not with pride, but with humility. He held his guitar close, almost like a shield, tears glistening in his eyes. One of the hosts rushed to the stage, kneeling beside him. "How do you feel right now?" he asked gently. The boy pressed his lips together, searching for words. Finally, he whispered, "I never thought anyone would listen. I only wanted to make my father proud." The crowd fell silent again. Then, a sound broke through, applause, but different this time. It came from a woman standing at the back, hands trembling, her face wet with tears. The camera turned. The boy gasped. It was his mother. She had slipped quietly into the show, too shy to be seen, but now she could no longer hide. She stepped forward, and the boy dropped his guitar, rushing into her arms. The hall erupted in tears and cheers. The mother clutched him tightly, whispering into his ear, "Your father would be so proud. Tonight, you gave him back to us." The boy broke down, not from sadness, but from release. For the first time, he felt his father's absence turn into presence, through the music, through the love, through the people who now carried his story in their hearts. As the camera zoomed out, the image of the boy and his mother in a golden rain became unforgettable. This was no longer about winning a competition. It was about honoring love, family, and the truth that even the smallest voice can echo across the world. And that night, a poor boy stunned the world, by simply singing his truth.